God, that was so funny.
Welcome back to Lawfully Chaotic, Season 2, Episode 10. Tonight, we are going to be speaking about the new release from our friends at Critical Role and Darrington Press. Hello, Shunjin. Thank you for joining us. First one, you win tonight. We're going to be talking about their new game, Till the Last Gasp. Till the Last Gasp. It's really difficult to say, especially for me right now. My brain, Jason, thank you for reminding me to click the fucking go live button. My brain is working on about one cylinder tonight. After my epic drive from Texas on Tuesday and Wednesday morning, straight through. So yeah, I'm not firing on all cylinders. But with me, as always, luckily to keep me awake and honest, are my fabulous co-hosts, Sharon, the fabulous Berrybot, and Jason, the storyteller from TTRPG Academy. Welcome. Thank you all for joining us or watching afterwards on VOD. Sharon has prepared some awesome notes for us to go over this game tonight. But before that, any announcements you guys have? Hey, 3 Miles, thanks for joining us.
What do you got going on, Cher?
Well, D&D movie will be is out this week, so I'm definitely gonna go and check that out, and we are gonna do an extra special episode for D&D review and the Rant Cam extra special edition. So stay tuned for that, and also the Graying
Hey, Andy,
Lens.
thanks for joining us. Also, well, I'm sorry, what'd you say?
Also, the Graying Lens has switched from our Saturday evening slot to, what is it, Jason? Sunday?
It is going to be Sunday evening, 6:30 to 10 or 6:30. I should probably double check that since I'm going to be there this Sunday.
Yeah, probably.
Sorry, 7 to 10. 7 to 10 Sunday.
Yes. So be sure to check that out, and I'm happy to see y'all here. So hi.
Jason.
I have a really fun new project I'm working on. So now that my new Friday table is officially full, took all of 4 days to fill it. I'm posting a Thursday table, so we'll have to talk about my time I'm using for the Thursday table, but it will not overlap. It shouldn't interrupt this time bracket for now, so we should be good with that. But I had a real fun creative day the other day. I am building a 20-volume compendium supplement on the things that you can harvest from creatures within the game. And it's intended to help all my alchemist folks that are like out there having lots of fun becoming alchemists. I'm also building an alchemy system, and I'm working on the Sherlock Holmes game, but I got a little sidetracked with another game called Hire that I'm building. It's an assassination game.
I thought it was like a corporate office game where you have to interview.
Well, it depends on what you're being
roll
hired
dice for interview questions.
Depends on what you're being hired for. But I'm having a lot of fun writing. I've had a lot of good creative days, and I recommend anyone out there, if you feel like being creative, go with it, because it can be very helpful.
That's awesome.
I wrote up a bunch of notes that I have to share with Barry tomorrow.
That's awesome. That alchemy corpo assassination.
Yeah.
Bingo.
Well, here, let me.
Wait, hold on. Okay, go ahead.
Let me just really quick. I want to read you an example of one of the things you can harvest. Because
that alchemy stuff sounds really fun. I can't wait to see that.
I got the A's, the B's, and C's mostly done. So there's a creature called a choker. A choker being small, stealthy, tentacled creature known for its ambush tactics and incredible agility, offers several unique materials that can be harvested for alchemical supplies. The choker hide, the choker tentacles, the choker eye, the choker essence, and the choker saliva. And then it breaks down the base foundation of what they could be used for.
Oh my God, that's fucking
is it corrosive?
awesome.
It could be. Like the saliva is a component in potions that grant the imbiber the climbing ability. the power to stick to surfaces, or the ability to create slippery or adhesive traps.
That's sweet.
Interesting.
I can't wait
So-
till volume 7 when you could harvest things off of humans, like cut someone's face off and wear it like a mask.
You know, your Hannibal Lecter problems are your problems, not mine.
That sounds.
What do you got
real-
going on these days, Brad?
That sounds awesome. I'm seriously excited to see that.
Yeah, it's been pretty fun.
So I am leaving in between that drive that I did. I'm leaving Saturday morning for the Great White North up in Canada for a week. Yeah, for spring break.
Sounds surprisingly racist.
Oh,
Oh, the Great Diverse North. Sorry,
Thank you very much.
we're woke here. So yeah, I'm going to Great White North. I'm going to the hills of cocaine. No, we're going up to Vancouver. I'm really excited because I've never been there, and I hear it is an amazing city. So you guys have the reins to the show next week. Don't fuck it up.
Oh, it's gonna be perfect. It's gonna be perfect. We're
and
gonna
I
show up with
believe-
popcorn and pretzels.
Yeah, I
and big
believe.
giant.
I don't
soda
want to give
containers.
too much. I don't want to jump.
so
the
much
gun,
fun.
But I believe that you two are planning on seeing the D&D movie, and you're going to talk about that. I am not going to have time to see it by next Thursday, I don't think, unless I can watch it on the airplane. And then I will consequently see it, and then we will have a follow-up, what will probably be just 60 minutes of me ranting my ass off about how shitty the movie was. However, if I am proven wrong, I will admit it, and I will eat my fucking words. Okay.
Well, actually, I think me and Bear are gonna come up with something you have to do.
Oh,
Yeah.
If
and
you are
you got to
proven
put
wrong.
Andy's comment up there. I love that you posted that. Haven't watched Strange Brew yet, but I plan on watching it maybe sometime.
Actually,
yeah, I know. Go ahead.
I got to see his live stream the other day from Creative Crits. Excellent stream, by the way.
Andy's?
Yeah, Andy, he had like a
Awesome.
live stream for mini painting. It was really
Sweet.
fun and interesting.
I will have to check that out. So anyway, yeah. So you guys got the show next week to talk about the movie. I will follow up, or I will watch it at some point, and then we'll do a follow-up show after that. Other than that, I'm still writing the campaign, our campaign. I am planning on starting that hopefully by the end of April, but if not, maybe by like first or second week of May, and we should be ready to jump into that. So start thinking about what
Ooh.
characters you want to play. But yeah, by the way, so the movie is Strange Brew, and if you like idiotic but hilarious movies, watch it. It's Rick Moranis, and somebody find me the other actor's name.
It's a total ripoff of Canadian Bacon, but that's okay.
Yeah, it is. It's kind of like a Bill and Ted meets Wayne's World meets Canada. So
I think he's still sleep deprived, folks. Sorry about that.
very much so. Okay. Anyway, enough of that bullshit. Barry, what do we got about this game tonight?
Well, tonight's episode is about the Critical Role critically acclaimed tabletop game, Till the Last Gasp. It meshes both narrative and storytelling with tabletop play with dice at hand. So it will involve 2 players, and it's a cooperative storytelling game. And it's basically a fight to the, well, I'm not sure if you want to fight to the death or it's however you make it to be. So we're going to dive in and break it down piece by piece by how it's a storytelling game and just a regular old tabletop game. So to start off, we are going to be talking about the storytelling aspects, such as character creation. You actually can, well, actually, Jason, what are your thoughts on the storytelling aspect of this game?
So what I find really interesting about this game is it feels like a trainer a little bit. It feels like it helps people practice the art of RPG. And the idea, I mean, let's face it, everyone's favorite thing is to create characters for D&D, right? Just games in general, right? Really elaborate characters with really cool backstories. Character creation in this game, that's exactly what you do. right? You create these. You can either use their pre-printed ones they have as, in case you don't want to be creative with it. But I love the fact that if you have a backstory just lying around, you can just turn it into a character for this game. And I like when I was watching How to Play with Becca, and I was watching Goths and Games, and they all agreed. They were like, it's really fun because we all have these character backstories just kind of lying around and stuff. So for me, the character creation by far was super interesting, and it feels like it helps players not only build a character that could be, don't quote me on this. Yeah.
No.
Not only can you build a character, but it's like, I kind of feel like we're getting a glimpse at the core narrative system that might be coming out from Critical Role when they finally decide to go their separate ways from D&D. And I kind of think what we're seeing is some of that mechanics beginning. So yeah, for me, the character creation was really cool. Teaches storytelling, it teaches backstory, it teaches the RPG creativity. So yeah, really, really cool.
Yeah, it's really interesting because the game comes with pre-generated character sheets, and it actually gives you cues and backstories and motivations for those characters that you can use. So I believe there's like 4 or 5 different pre-gen characters, and you could also use blank sheets. So it kind of has like a mesh of character creation, just like for D&D, which I thought was really interesting. Like, it made it very familiar for people who have played D&D to jump into it. And for those who haven't, this is like kind of like a baby step towards it. Like, it's kind of like training wheels, so to speak.
Yeah.
There's
really
12 pre-made characters and 9 maps. And
Yes.
then, like, as you said, you can customize, you can make your own characters.
Yeah, I believe it's a free download, even like the blank sheets are a free download on Darrington Press, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah, this game, so I haven't bought it yet, but I am going to. I'm actually
I'm going to put it on the
excited
game
about
shelf
this.
for sure. Yeah.
I watched Becca's video. I watched the stuff, and I'm really, at first when I read the idea of combining RP storytelling with a dice table game, I was like, well, I'm not sure how that's going to work, but I'm really excited for this. To me, it feels like a combination of, you guys know, one of my favorite games is Dice Throne by Roxley Games. And I describe Dice Throne as a combination of Yahtzee, Magic the Gathering, and Street Fighter. This, to me, is a combination of Dice Throne and D&D. So I am really pumped to buy this and actually play it and try it.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it's really fun how to start the game too, because once you've like picked your characters, you have to like dramatically introduce yourself to the player across the table and collaborate on how to build the environment, and also how to introduce and how they'll act towards each other. Like, what's their relationship? What is their motivation for dueling that day? What are your thoughts on that, Jason?
So it's interesting because the hardest thing you can do in a traditional D&D game is RP. It really is hard. It's embarrassing if you fuck it up. It's, you feel like you're going to be judged. You sound stupid in your own mind, and you're playing out all these things that probably aren't even plausible. It's just that it's the self-conscious nature of this, right? My name is Manigo Antoya. You killed my mother, prepared to fry. That is exactly it.
I'm sorry.
There.
What was my lines? I think I don't know.
That was exactly it. I love that about this, right? Because the very first thing this game teaches you is to role play the introduction of your character to each other.
Yeah.
And I love that. It's like, my name is Hugo. You took my favorite pair of shoes. Now, I take your favorite pair of underwear. That's the only way we can be even, Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, Swamp Thing, Dice Throne, I think, is like Street Fighter meets Magic the Gathering meets a dice pool kind of thing, Yahtzee, and I think this even elevates Dice Throne one level higher.
And we could talk about that dice pool reference later because I think that's a good point. But to your point, Bear, that intro is the icebreaker, right? That immediately sets the tone of the game that you're about to have, and it feels very much like a mini Zero session. Break the ice, have this fun little banter with this head-to-head oration of character versus character, and then you start playing a game. I think it's genius. I think it's genius. It really is good.
Yeah, and then the fact that they're able to implement cues for players, especially if like people don't have that like narrative or improv muscle, there's these drama cards that you use that help propel the narration in the game. So like you could propel your characters to like confess some deep-seated secret to the other player that like, oh, I don't want to kill you, but I must for the good of the honor family, something like that.
For the good of the printers of this game, I will kill you.
And like I think that's so cool because it takes away like the nerve-wracking, of improv.
Yeah, and you brought up a good point, Jason. It's interesting because as fuck yeah. We could do all three. We could do we could do like round robin. That's a great fucking idea. Boom, that's 3 episodes right there. Mad Lib's backstory creep. My name is fill in the blank. Potato Chip.
Potato Chip.
I come from.
My name is Dorito. Where is Mr. Lay's?
I am Tortilla Chip.
But that took a foodie turn real quick. Well, it's interesting, Chase, what you said about it's like a trainer for role playing because I think as we have matured in how we play D&D over the past 5-6 years with where the game has come from and a new focus on the role playing aspect of the game and the deeper aspects of that role playing. It's funny because when I teach people who have never played the game before, they say, how do you play D&D? And I'm like, well, here's your primer. Okay. Here's a very basic rundown of what a character looks like, how you build it. Super basic of the rules. Here's what dice do. And here's, role playing, which is basically just, there is no wrong way to do it. And then you just play the game. Right. And it's easy to pick up the mechanics of D&D eventually. But you're right, Barry, not everybody has the role playing or the improv muscle. So this is like a really awesome way to laser focus on that. Like I was getting the picture of like the old West duel or the sword duel scene from Princess Bride.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, I got to fucking play this.
So, and then with the mechanics, with the way this game has been set up, it kind of reminds me of like quick time events in video games, where they have that like super like glamorous scene and you have to like push a button. I feel like with the drama cards and the prompts that they have for the game, it feels very much like that in the same way. So do you think this allows new players who are curious about D&D to like better understand the nature of the game and practice improv, do you think, with these cards in place?
Yeah, because I think it takes away the fear of I'm involved in a longer campaign. This is going to be ongoing, and if I role play badly, I'm going to be a shitty player. This is like a one and done. Let's sit down at the table and just have an improv session for an hour. So I think it definitely fulfills that.
And it does 2 other things for me that I really love. It teaches in a very positive way, without telling, but it teaches in a very positive way on how to be a good player, how to be a creative player, how to be both self-conscious and empathetic at the same time. You're learning a new set of skills that maybe in a D&D session might be too overwhelming, but in a session like this with like a girlfriend, boyfriend, partner, friend, whatever, You get to practice that without feeling overwhelmed.
Absolutely.
The other thing that I love about this is that the long-standing generational conversation around newer players, their biggest cultural influence is video games.
Yes.
And some more established hobbyist players, their biggest cultural influence is culture itself. But we get a lot of players that step into D&D and role-play games like this with the assumption that it's like a video game. And I think this helps them see it very differently.
Yeah.
Like this gives them that opportunity to experience the very kind of edges of a role-playing game without feeling, once again, overwhelmed, and the nuanced differences between the mindset of a video game versus the mindset of a role-playing game. And the fact that this brings us out of the solo narrative, which I'm not a huge fan of, and we could talk about that in some other show, but this takes us one step away from solo, but not deep into the overwhelming sense of a full table. This one-on-one opportunity to just be creative.
You know what I could see being super fun to play this game is in a game night. If you have a bunch of people over and like 2 people and maybe the moderator, because they say that you can play with only 2 or you can add a moderator, play. And the rest of, like if you're doing like a dinner party or something like that, and everybody else kind of watches like it's an improv show.
Yeah.
It'd be kind of fun.
Idea for an episode, maybe?
Kind of like a different murder mystery. Different take on murder.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. I like that.
But that could be really cool.
Yeah.
God, now I really want this. You know what? I'm not going to Canada. I'm going to buy the game and I'm going to play it all.
There you go.
Just buy it and take it with you.
Yeah, my wife would love that. Crowd interaction, that too. Almost like a Rocky Horror Picture Show type thing.
Well, but I'm wondering if we're seeing some of those influences. I'm wondering if this is, before we move on to like the core mechanics, which I want to get into that as well. But what if what we're seeing here is 2 things, right? Ooh. The heavy influence of 20 years of culture amongst some creators. And I'll say it, Uk'otoa was boring as fuck. But yet, even though that wasn't a well-received game, they tried again and they came out with a very well-received game right now. This is being very well-received, very well-reviewed. People are liking it, and I think that's the fact that they felt that what they learned from that first release, which was just because a topic in your campaign is super popular, it may not make a good game, right? There's always that possibility. But I think what we're seeing here is a cultural outcome, right, of the nuanced challenges that all games have, which is creative RPing, character development, being kind of a shitty player at first, but learning that it's okay. You're going to be a shitty player at first. You learn to become a better player, and the idea of improv. I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that they encourage creating and implementing the character or the story and the setting, and it does come with like some guardrails a little bit, so it's not completely off the charts and overwhelming for new players. I think that's this is a great warm up to like D&D or any tabletop game. I
agree.
Yeah, it kind of puts it in a safe space to be able to.
Yeah. So, since we have rolled out the carpet for storytelling, let's jump into mechanics. Woo!
always fun.
Okay. I assume you're looking at me.
Yeah.
Yeah, the fucking mechanics suck. No, I'm just obviously, Becca Scott did a really good job of. Well, I'm sorry. Did you want to lead in with specific questions, or did you want me to just start?
Oh, just run with the story. Go.
Okay. I think Becca Scott did a really good job. She always does of going over the mechanics. And I will say the one thing that I think will remain to be seen once you play is, and this is completely dependent on who's playing the game, but is how big of a impact or a part the actual role playing and dramatizing and storytelling fits into this. I mean, the game can obviously be played without that. You could say, okay, I pull out my gun and shoot you in the head, and here's what the cards say. Now, it's not meant to do that. Okay, you can't force people to role play. But I think the way, again, going back to what you guys were saying, I think the way they incorporated it makes it easy enough to really have fun with it and not be afraid to do it. So I don't know that I would really call that part of the mechanics. I mean, it is, but it's totally player dependent. Beyond that, I think the mechanics look fucking fantastic. I mean, it's deep enough that there's some real meat to it. You create a character, but you don't have to worry about skills and weapons and HP and armor class and none of that shit. You have dice pools, which we've been talking about a lot about lately on this show.
Yeah.
As I think underutilized mechanic for role-playing games. And basically, depending on your character, and then also there are stance cards. Like, what stance do you take? Is it an offensive stance or a defensive stance or something like that? That determines where you put your dice from your dice pool. And then you add those to a D20 roll. So they got the D20 in there, which is fucking awesome.
Had to,
right? So now I can still use my 700 D20s that I have in my house.
You got dice goblins.
Yeah. And there's multiple levels. So you've got your dice pool, you've got your stance cards, you have objectives. Your character, and this is where the character background comes in. It's not just like, you're a fighter, so you have extra strength. No, it's like, what are your motivations and objectives? And then you've got the drama cards on top of that. And I think, at first glance, without having picked up the game or played it, it looks fucking fantastic. I got to admit. It's deep enough. Mechanics, but I don't think it's so heavy that it will slow down gameplay or detract from the play of the game. Matt Mercer and Marisha Ray also did a little intro video, like a little 3-minute intro video, and of course it's fucking fantastic because it's the two of them and they're like totally acting it out, and then it's like cut, and then they're like crick, they roll the dice. So I encourage you to check it out. But mechanics-wise, again, my first impression, I can't wait to fucking try this thing.
Yeah, I honestly love the fact that, like, when you start to play the game and to introduce your character, you have like a chance to use objective cards. So basically, you draw 5 cards, you choose 3, and out of the 3, you have to choose 1. So based on the objectives that you have that hidden to yourself throughout the entire campaign. Well, campaign.
Scene.
The entire game or scene. So you have to complete at least 3 objectives in order to win. Or I think it's you have to complete 3 objectives and have managed to reach round 4. So there's like a total of 6 rounds. And
so you can what is it? End the duel decisively. End the duel decisively. Right. So the basis of the mechanics that it is select a stance. Once you all set up, select a stance. So bold, wary, quick, reckless, or defensive. Then you roll the dice, and depending on your stance and some other things, it depends, where you put those dice pools. You take your turn. Okay, so the dice that you roll added to the D20 is your overall pool, and then you apply that to specific actually here, let me show you.
I think it was actions.
Specific actions, yes.
Yeah.
So specific actions, which you see here. So your dice up in the corner here, your die roll right up here is a d20 roll plus your dice pool, and that's how many action points you have. And then you spend those action points, depending on the card you put down, on what you want to do until the action points are gone. And then you end the round. And yeah, you can defeat, you can, there's a couple different, see if we can find it here. You can defeat, you can
also set the stakes, so you could choose to
Yeah.
defeat, to exile, to a turn, or till the last gasp.
That's them. Yeah, thank you.
So
Yeah.
it's basically a fight to the death. So you actually get to choose the main objective for the,
Mhm.
I was about to say campaign again, the game. But
Which can
see,
change
like,
during the game.
yeah, exactly. And depending
Yeah.
on like how your RP is, you can just, switch it up, and then you have to adjust with your objectives and the actions that you use to spend during the game. And it's so cool.
Yeah. Yeah, so to Jason's point, I think it could be a look into, through the lens of what may be coming from Critical Role and from Matt in terms of their own game system. And it's interesting that they did this dice pool thing, because I've been thinking about creating a game system too. And, I've talked about it a little bit based on a D100, but also based on dice pools within that D100 system. I think it's a really, like I said, it's a really cool and underutilized mechanic. So
One of the interesting things I love about the breakdown of the mechanics is there's 3 popular methods here: a chart reference, a dice pool, action points. So you feel like you're getting the core idea of the game within a mechanical sense, but they don't feel overwhelming.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah, it's like one chart, one dice pool, one card. Yeah. You're right.
Yeah. And it's interesting that like it's a dueling game that doesn't have any HP or any armor that you need.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's really based on narrative. And I think that's really interesting.
I think it's suspiciously going to be the system they release, the narrative system that we've all been waiting for.
I still need a piece of paper and a number to tell me when I'm dead.
Paper. What is this thing you call paper? I don't know what paper is. It sounds like something from a museum.
I can't wait till I can say, back in my day, we used to use tablets and touchscreens, not this crazy neurospheric mind link.
So true.
Yeah.
And there has been a lot of great feedback for this game too. Like across the board, glowing reviews from Polygon, TechRaptor, and Gizmodo, and just
read some of those reviews, Sharon. Read some of those reviews. Read some of those reviews.
Despite a modest box and just a handful of components, Till the Last Gasp bleeds potential. This is a singular design which offers a structured yet story-oriented tabletop experience that pulls from traditional board games as well as indie RPGs. It's engrossing yet light, allowing for complex narratives or concise poetic duels shrouded in mystery. Ooh.
That's Polygon.
And TechRaptor says, Till the Last Gasp is a fantastic game of short-form collaborative. Sorry, there's giggles in there, guys. I'm actually reading it verbatim.
Yeah, there are a lot of giggles.
Yeah.
Its simple yet effective use of mechanically driven actions and improv roleplay helps elevate conflict, allowing players.
I love how you're fucking yourself up.
I'm looking at you guys.
You're in it now. Keep going.
Allowing the players to lose themselves in characters and learn new things about themselves and others along the way. The voice really changed a lot. It was like an evolution. And Gizmodo says, Till the Last Gasp is a well-designed, tightly focused 2-player game that is a love letter to the most dramatic of showdowns across media.
Yeah.
That sounds like a Gizmodo response. Very tight, very concise, very limited in wordplay.
It's good. It reminds me of movies.
So
funny.
Yeah.
Would you guys like to play this game?
I would, definitely. And I love 3 Miles idea that we do like a round robin where like me and Jason play and you moderate, and then me and you play and Jason moderates, and so on and so on. And that chat adds their input on the interpretation of motivations and stuff. That would be fucking awesome.
Yeah, I like that a lot. And I might be overanalyzing. I don't know. I tend to do that just in general, anyways. But like,
really, I don't ever notice that.
What?
I really do feel like we're getting a first draft of a narrative game. Is what we're getting.
Yeah.
This all screams narrative. Narrative games tend to have simple mechanics, but they have depth, right? Narrative games can still have moderators, but narrative games tend to be more kind of like self-responsive as well as group responsive to a certain degree. And I think, like when we were talking about the dice pool, I really do think there's an interest to bring a new level of skill check, ability check, functional mechanic that's a different type of random influencer, as opposed to just kind of traditional, RNG outcomes.
I think something deeper, something. The argument goes. I've always been one to complain that like, oh, I don't want to play a fighter, but fighters are boring and they're all the same. Okay. And then, and then we mature and it's like, well, there could be completely different kind of fighters, which is true. Okay. Admittedly. However, when you've played the game for enough years, you realize like, okay, the skill tree is still super limited and everybody can say, I do an investigation check and do this. And when it comes down to it, yeah, you can make a character distinct through role playing, but if you are playing a game with a set of mechanics, those mechanics can become constricting or tired over time. And it's like, well, I want to be the guy that can pick a lock that is made from elephant skull bone and set into a wall of a temple. I want to be the only guy that can do that,
We're calling PETA.
I'm looking up their number right now.
No, but you know what I mean? It's like I'm basically reiterating what you said. More depth in terms of specialization from the mechanics that could go hand in hand with making your character more distinct through role playing. I think the combination of that is a winning.
But Cher, as a player, right? The one influential mechanic you have as a player is your dice roll, and then how that causes your action points to evolve.
Yeah.
Right? What's your thought on that? Because that is very different mechanical integration.
Yeah, I think it is really interesting because it allows you to be more introspective with the character that you're playing. So depending on the dice that is given and the objectives that you have, like you're able to be like, okay, I can try and work around this and then, enact it in character as, guided in the game. Oh, Torch.
And the podcast based on improv starting with some dice chaos and seems like they're right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that what your wording is perfect. What I love about dice and mechanics and not going completely narrative. I know Jason, you and I differ a little bit, although you've been swaying me over the months. But what I love about dice is that random chaos factor. Sometimes the dice just fuck you, or sometimes, we've all seen really great things happen when you roll 2 critical fails or 2 critical successes. It's just it's a really awesome aspect of a game to introduce that. So, yeah.
I wonder, can you roll a critical fail in this game? I wonder.
I think you could actually share, because like, what if you roll a 1 on the D20 and you have less, you have less action points. So even though it feels like a failure, does having less action points force you to become more creative in your role playing?
Yeah, it looks like you could still do something, but just your options are less limited. So yeah, that could drive creativity. So for instance, here I'm looking at. Let me throw this back up. Oops, I gotta find a quicker way to do this. So for instance, here on this card, there are no 1 point. So I guess you can't really. Well, I don't know. It depends on the dice.
Well, if you roll a 3, right? If you roll a 3 on the D20, you get 1 action point, right?
Right.
And the number of available.
But you add your dice pool roll to that.
Assuming you've strategized correctly, right? And you've built an edge pool that. So do you over strategize and build a large edge pool in anticipation of rolling a poor D20, or do you build a large edge pool and hope for a high D20 roll? But if you have all these action points, do you have enough creativity in the fuel tank to make use of the action points?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's it's intriguing. It's different.
Yeah,
it's a very different way at looking at how they all kind of connect with each other.
Yeah.
It's more interesting for me because I never get to play. With a game like this, I could actually play.
That's
right. I get, but being a 40-year veteran DM who's very into narrative style playing, do I automatically have an advantage?
Yeah. As DMs, what are your guys' perspective on this game?
I just love it because I think it's a great trainer tool, but I also feel like I would be, for me, I'd have some pretty significant advantages because I'm using RP 14 times a week, right? Not a lot of people get to practice that muscle that many times a week.
Look at me, I'm Colonel DM. I'm gonna
that's High Master Regent. Of backwater planet where I allow the Mandos to live on my backwater planet. Thank you.
I see you watched episode whatever it was of Mandalorian.
Yeah, Pirates.
Yeah,
you haven't seen it? See it. It's fun.
Yeah.
So from a standpoint of the RP and the mechanics, the balance is there. And I think you're kind of right. Both of you are kind of right about the dice rolls. There's enough of a pool of opportunity that you're probably never suffering from bad rolls.
Yeah.
But are you spending your action points correctly? Like, are you spending your points in such a way that it's following the creativity of your like role playing kind of like thing that you're doing? Like watching 2 brand new players who've barely even touched D&D play this game would be a real fun treat, just to kind of see how they practice those muscles.
To be like out role play. Oh, put that comment up. Thank you for joining us, Starry Night. That's fantastic to hear. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
I mean,
oh, good. Are they still a friend? I apologize ahead of time, just in case.
They were before tonight. They were. Sorry. Totally lost my train of thought.
Do you think there should be more games like this that fall along the same
why not
guideline?
Why not?
Well, I think it's interesting that we've had a lot of board games like this, just not with the creativity aspect. I mean, Battleship, head-to-head game, right? Chess, checkers. There's a lot of head-to-head games we've played over the years, but there's never been a lot of opportunity to insert like a lot of creativity to it.
Oh, well, in that case, now you open the fucking floodgates because I'm not going to stop.
You got to understand, he's not really a dwarf. He's more like a 6-foot-tall Scottish man from the north.
No, we don't talk about that here.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair.
That'll have to be another episode. All of our
I don't know. Bear's got that one voice she pops out every now and then when she's like playing around with character ideas. Is it the Aussie one? Which one do you do, Bear? That there's one that you do that makes me. Yeah. You're. Oh my god, it just makes me just giggle myself to death.
Yeah, you can't stop me on that, otherwise I'll never shut up. Even more so than not me normally shutting up. I'll never ever shut up. So.
But what we're doing right now feels like a great way to play this game.
Yeah, right.
Right, because you're establishing the story and the background, and then with the objectives, and then within the mechanics, you start using this creativity through your action points to duel and beat the other person. I love it.
We have a lot of upcoming episode ideas. I think our schedule is like set for the next 2 months. So Sharon, who's up first?
Yeah.
No, I'm serious. I'm going to buy this game, and we are going to do that idea.
Yeah,
I play it on the show. So.
But to your earlier question, Cher, I think a lot of games could benefit and maybe spend a little less time on the solo reality of a game, and realize that even introverts want to experiment with the idea in very underwhelming situations to experiment with games. Whether it's a partner, friend, or a stranger, that you run into at a restaurant, and you sit down and go, hey, you want to play this game with me? I'm going to be a pirate that's going to punch you in the face unless you give me my wife's message back to me. Go, your turn, go. And it's, I think a lot of games out there could really explore this method, and this head-to-head creative method is really cool. I like it a lot.
Well, and then that also reminds me, I don't know the game off the top of my head, but Scary Jenga, what is that game?
Scary Jenga?
Yes, it's a tabletop game.
Is that where you pull the block out and throw it at somebody's head or something?
I mean, you could do that if you want. I mean,
you're talking about the tower version of it?
Yeah.
With chunks of 2x4?
No, because it's a tabletop game that it's narratively driven, that you're hiding from a murderer or like Jason or something. Not
Hey, we all want to hide from Jason.
And so basically each action that you do, you have to pull from the Jenga tower. So if the tower falls, you get caught by the serial killer and you're dead.
You're talking about Dread.
Yes.
Yeah, you're talking about Dread. Yeah.
Yes.
I forgot the name of it too, but what you were describing sounded familiar to me. And so I looked it up, and yeah, Dread Horror, which is a scary Jenga game. So there's a result to your head-to-head play on how you. Yeah, I oh my god, I haven't thought about that game in a while, but yeah, sure, that one looks cool. I do like the look of that one too.
What's Morg?
Morkborg?
What?
This is what happens when you have three people think of three different things at the same time.
Morkborg is the role-playing game where basically it is the end of the world and everybody's going to die anyway, so it's like off the rails. Yeah, we talked about that before, I think.
Well, to be fair, Brian talked about that endlessly for 45 minutes.
Morkborg.
Adam is the one that introduced me to this, I think. Adam Scott. Yeah. But it's like, I mean, it's fucking off the rails. It's like, the world is ending and everybody is like a psychotic murderer.
Really?
It's fucking dark. The coolest thing about this book.
So how is this fantasy?
This up on my I had this up on my shelf. What's that?
How is this fantasy? I'm confused.
Yeah, right.
World fantasy, everything's off the rails. I'm confused.
Game is a documentary.
I get into fantasy physics because I want to think of fantastical, unlikely things. I don't want a documentary.
There is invisible glow in the dark runes on this. And when I first got it, I had it in my shelf and I'm in bed and I'm like, what the fuck is that demonic shit glowing in the corner of my room? And it was this book.
That's so cool.
It's fun to just to read. I haven't actually played it yet.
Okay, honestly, why doesn't like the D&D books, like the Dungeon Master's Guide, why don't they come with like letters like that? like they have like glow in the dark letters that you could give to your
Because
players.
D&D
like,
doesn't want books anymore. They just want all digitals.
Oh, but it's so cool. Like you
What?
give,
Jab.
We need to get you that rant button, Sharon. That would have been a good opportunity.
I know.
We have to have that. Yeah.
Well, I think they kind of do a little bit. The one thing that they do is they create that artwork versions of the release. Like instead of like a standard hardcover, right? They just kind of
covers, yeah.
Yeah, they released the art covers. But to Andy's point,
except Volo's guide, which is now worth
when you
$50,000.
I mean when you get into the corporate mentality of shipping books, it's like expense versus
face. Like
I know. It's a game that you can start.
I'm telling you,
with
it is like. Did you ever see that James Franco movie, End of the World? James Franco and Seth Rogen.
Yes.
It's basically like a role-playing game of that.
And I fell in love with that movie because Hermione was in it, and Hermione was an ass kicker in that movie. I absolutely loved it.
Oh yeah, so Starry, you have to go back and watch some of our old episodes. Because
there's plenty of Brian Rankams.
Yeah,
like,
we've
many episodes ago.
Okay, hold on. Swamp Thing wants me to open the weapons page. Hold on.
No, we're not gonna talk about femurs.
Weapons. Hold on. Weapons.
I love how Barry's actually looking at your window panel right now.
God.
Femur, flail, crossbow, bastard sword, armor. Actually,
traumatized.
That's the first one.
I'm actually a little traumatized too because I'd forgotten about that chart.
She must be shown. Thanks,
Yes.
Swamp Thing.
So talk about a narrative game. Again, I haven't played it, but this is another opportunity for like just going off the rails. Like, okay, so I take John the pharmacist's femur, and I take the sharp end.
Oh my god!
Well, and I do find it interesting. One final note in regards to the Tell the Last Gasp game. They don't really put you in a specific genre. I don't remember us like mentioning that, but it could be sci-fi, it could be fantasy, it could be pirate, it could be modern, it could be ancient.
So there are 9 pre-made maps, and I think one of them is like an airship, one is a castle.
So
castle, a temple.
And then once again, they make it in such a way you could build your own map and build your own objectives if you wanted to. Because when the rules are simple, sure enough, creativity is a little bit more easier to do.
Yeah, but the maps also, side note, the maps also determine, I think they have an effect on dice pools or actions.
Yeah, because they have the objectives on it. And so you still, once again, you still have the map, you have the cool game card, you have the random idea of the drama card. There's still, for a very kind of simplistic appearing game, there's still a lot of random opportunities in it as well. The genreless. Yeah, I like that too. Like I like the idea that two people that maybe have a different interpretation of a cultural reality can play this game without being forced into a genre that they're not familiar with. They can kind of just, you could be anime genre, you could be pixelated comic book ink genre, you could be Minecraft genre, right? You could play it as if you're playing a head-to-head Minecraft game. I love it.
So Andy, the maps are specific to this game. It's a very small,
very much specific
6x9 map, and it's not a battle map type thing.
I mean,
there's
you could kind of like narratively put that as an example.
Yeah, sure. You could take the idea of that map and recreate it. Yeah, but the maps in the game they're not really battle maps for.
That actually brings up a good point, Cher. How cool would it be to write the backstory of a future campaign character that you play in this game, and it kind of leads you into additional ideas of your backstory and additional ideas of the motive of your backstory, and actually you play a head-to-head game with someone, and the outcome of the game becomes the backstory that you want to use in a D&D campaign.
That's fucking awesome.
That'd be a lot
like
of fun.
That's like character creation on steroids. That's fucking awesome.
That's fun.
And then you jump over to Hero Forge and build the mini, right?
Yeah.
Then you jump over to the table and you go, okay, guys, I got my mini, I got my backstory, I'm good to go. And I know it works.
And then you find some
I just kicked Brian's ass.
And then you find some advanced bioengineering lab and you actually grow a living character.
I love that too, Starry. That's a good idea too. Like, once
Oh,
again, the idea of a stew versus a broth, right?
Yeah.
The stew has all the mixings and all the layers, right? The broth is a little too simplistic. But when you want to test out backstories or you want to have fun with the RP idea, if you're a brand new DM, once again, I love that idea, Starry. If you're a brand new DM and you're not comfortable role playing, play this game with some friends and build some nefarious, evildoers who are, that you want to role play them in this game and get a feel for how you think their narrative is going to be in your actual campaign. That's a great idea. I haven't thought about that.
Industry.
And then what if, like, the other player that plays with you, like the duelist, like, what if you randomly meet them as an NPC in the main campaign?
Oh
You're
my God, that's fucking fantastic.
Exactly. I love it.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, suffice it to say, this game looks like it has real awesome potential. I can't believe this might be one of the only times that we've actually stayed on focus the entire hour on one. Yeah,
that.
I know.
Imagine that.
Pat on the
I
back.
know.
Hey,
Sharon,
Sharon.
your notes were fantastic.
Yeah, they were great. Thank you. Cher, do you want to announce what we got coming up in the next couple of weeks? Since we actually did some due diligence this week, folks. So we got together and we talked about some interesting topics that we all would like to talk about. And we actually have kind of a schedule, which I love.
Yeah. We're going to start.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we actually have a schedule, a set list for the upcoming weeks. We will be reviewing the D&D. Huh?
Tentatively.
It's
Assuming everything
already
works
off
out.
rails.
I don't know this person named tentatively, but I know Barry and Brian. So we'll just go with the names I know. Okay.
So next week we will be talking about the D&D movie.
Yes.
So be sure to check that out.
Bring your beer, bring your popcorn, bring your Barry bought Mira staff to give her some emotional support on the fact she hasn't built it yet.
Yeah. We rubbed the salt in the wound. I know.
It's supposed to happen by the end of January.
Hey, but Cher, I do have something to say. The Friday table that just filled up, one of the players built a half-orc female character named Mira. Yeah.
You're famous.
Yeah, you're famous now. It's
and now you can collect royalties.
Well, don't worry. Bring your Diet Coke or bring your appropriately underage 21 beverage. Starry, do not worry.
Yes. And yes, bring all your hot gossip and some popcorn for the next episode. And tentatively, when everybody gets the Till the Last Gasp game, maybe we could play test it live in front of the live studio audience, which is you, chat. Woo!
Yes.
And you'll get to commentate and also help guide the storyline for the Till the Last Gasp game campaign. Was gonna say that again.
I do have a problem with the name. That's really hard to say. Till the last
gasp.
Till the last gasp.
Say that 3 times fast. Till the last gasp.
Till the last gasp. Till the last gasp. Till the last gasp. Till the last gasp.
Yeah,
Till the last.
All right, and then following week we will get the Bryant Rant edition for the D&D movie, so be on the lookout for that as well.
We're gonna get extra artwork, and we're gonna get Barry a button.
I'm gonna rip the shit out of it. Or how it sucks, just so I could fucking rip the crap out of it.
Yes, and those will be the upcoming episodes for the next couple of weeks, and then we will have some fresh new ones out for you guys. So be sure to tune in.
We also have, in addition to, I think every 3 weeks is my plan for an ongoing campaign. Okay, my homebrew campaign. We also may have Barry, first time DM, Jason and I through a mini campaign.
Yes.
Live.
And that's either going to be the beginning of our intro or our outro. We're still working on that. So I think it's a great idea.
Yeah. So 10 minutes before or whatever, and that'll be an ongoing thing. My campaign will be the whole session, and that'll be ongoing. And it's going to be you two, you and you. I am never going to get that right. And then a few other people, so we'll fill up a table.
Your directional finger problems are not my problem.
I know.
And wait till you see what the campaign I got cooked up for you guys.
Sweet.
Yeah, I need my blankie.
All right. Well, everybody, thank you so much. Chat, thank you. Starry, thank you for joining. We've got a couple new faces in here. Thank you all. Andy, you're now a regular. Torch, as always, 3 Miles, Jeff, Shunjin, all you guys, thank you so much. As always, you guys add a ton to this show and make it 100 times better than it would be without you. So thank you very much. And thank you all for joining us or watching afterwards. Do we want to do rollies?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's been forever. Chat, feel free to jump in.
Ooh, I'm going to do digital rollies.
Lame.
Digital, how could you?
Lame. I got a 12.
Do I go Druid or Sailor Moon? I'll go Sailor Moon.
Digital dice are.
Oh, I wonder if I don't have it active right. I don't. I'll use regular dice. That's fine.
Wait, didn't you just roll?
No. Regular dice.
What'd you get?
17.
Oh. Barry, what'd you get?
I got a 12.
Oh, 12 and 12. All right, you're up, Jace.
So,
natural.
One of the things I hope that we all learn from this wonderful session that we got together and as we talk about this game is that it is okay to play games. And I think with this game, one of the things it teaches us that even though we're not very good at something, the more we do it, we get better at it, breaks the ice, we have fun with it. It's a great way to start creative conversation, creative juices flowing on character creation, or point out earlier, NPC and BBG, big bad guy creation as well. So remember, you don't have to be perfect at anything. Do not achieve perfection. It doesn't exist. I don't care what anyone tells you. Just play games and have fun with each other, and just realize these games are here to help us all kind of de-stress and get away from the mundaneness of our life and find a little fantasy in your life. And this is another game that I think will help us all get there in a much more healthier way.
Well said.
Well said.
Yep. And
Ryan,
remember,
where can we find you?
You can find me at rpgandco.com, Instagram. Send me a message. Most places are rpgandco.com. Otherwise, website is playrpgandco.com. It's one of the two across the channel. So reach out. I love shooting the shit.
Where can we find you, Bear Bear?
Hey, thanks everyone for joining us for another episode of Lawfully Chaotic. You can find me, Barrybot, over on the interwebs at Barrybot on Instagram and TikTok and all other things interwebby. And you can also catch me Sundays for the TBA time slot on Sundays for the Graying Lands campaign, where I play a Druid Kalistar named Nera. Come check us out. Big battle this weekend.
Yeah.
Jason, and where can we find you?
The best way to find all my socials is either through the Discord or through the Twitch about us. Head over to the TTRPG Academy Twitch stream. Get everything you need from there. Our Sundays just got busier. All 3 shows are broadcast on Sunday. We have the Mad Mage, the Journey of the Undermountain. We have Fool's Errand in the Shattered Isles. And then we have the Graying Lands as they are in their final arc. We celebrated our 60th session 2 weeks ago. And we've been together for 2 years. We are planning a new campaign that will have some very interesting creative twists to it. But yeah, find us over there on Sundays, where you could find Barry play a 19th level druid, folks. 19th level
He
druid.
did it,
Only
guys.
only one level away from the biggest cheat character ever created.
Unfortunately, there's no more milestones.
Ah. How about I sneeze and get the level 20?
Well, it is what it is.
By the way,
So,
I will. I just want to say, once you're done,
Well, I'm good. Go.
I just want to say, if by some chance they're showing the D&D movie on the airplane and I watch it, I may jump in Thursday, but the chances are
Yes.
slim. No arch druid.
No arch druid for her.
So close.
So, TPK, Bri?
TPK.
TPK.
TPK. Tell a story. Play a game. And be kind.
Be kind.
Good night, everybody.
Night.